you. Thank you. It's true. I did literally just move here 4 weeks ago today. Thank you. Bam. But what a lot of people don't know is I spent 13 years in Chicago, but I was actually raised in the state of Arkansas. Born and raised. And the whole time I was in Chicago, that was like my brand, right? Like being like the Southern comic, like the Southern girl, right? That was like my whole thing, right? And now I'm here, and like nobody gives a fuck. They're like, welcome to the club, right? So I had to come up with like a whole new brand, right? So I decided I was gonna take one of those 23andMe tests to kind of like pull some percentage out of there, you know, make it my thing. You know what I'm talking about, those DNA tests that are like ruining families, like right now. So I did. I took one of those DNA tests, but I actually took a bunch because they kept coming back rejected. I took one, I sent it in, right, and it was rejected. I took another, I sent it in, it was rejected. Finally, the fourth one, 23andMe sends me a letter, right? And did you know you're supposed to spit in those tubes? I feel like they need to be a little bit more clear about that. A little bit. So finally I did it right, got my results back, and did you guys know, I had no idea, did you guys know I am 80% white trash? Put it up! Bam, bam, bam! 20% redneck.
Don't get no better.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And you know, I was shook. I was shook, to say the least. But I really shouldn't have been, right? I really shouldn't have been, because there have been red flags throughout my whole life. For example, the last Thanksgiving party that I went to, you guys remember those Thanksgiving parties back? Those were real fun. I was helping my friend set up for hers, right? So we were cooking all the food, and we had the music going, and we had the place settings out, and we cleaned up her whole apartment. All we needed were the guests, right? And right before everybody got there, I looked over and I noticed she had a laptop and an iPad sitting on her couch. And I was like, don't you think you want to put those away before the party gets started? And she's like, no, why would I want to put those away? And I was like, you know, so nobody steals or pawns your laptop or your iPad. And she was like, why would I invite anyone to my home who's gonna steal or pawn my iPad? And my first thought was, oh shit, she's having a whole entire Thanksgiving party and she's not inviting family! Bam! 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 Bam!
I understand that.
And the best part about that is y'all think it's a joke. My aunt called my mom the other day and she was like, your daughter needs to stop telling people I faked cancer. It's not funny. She didn't say she didn't fake cancer. She didn't say I was lying. She just didn't like that it was on Amazon now is what she was mad about. Right? I was a little bit bored over quarantine, right? Just a little bit, and I recognize that that's a privilege because a lot of people had a terrible quarantine. So I just did things like practice putting on my eyebrows, right? I'm so glad I made it up here before they melted off because I would have scared the shit out of this guy. Scared the shit out of this guy. He doesn't like albinos. I like fake eyebrows. Fake, right? But I crossed a big milestone in my life. I went on my first accidental gay date. Right? Put it up. She's like, don't fist bump me. I'm like, girl, I don't have chlamydia anymore. I did, and when I say accident, here's what I mean. So and I'm not claiming it was a date because like, oh, she's a lesbian and I'm a woman, therefore it must have been a date to her. No. I knew it was accidentally a date because she was not having a good time. I was not her type at all. It was going bad. So what happened was I was trying to make friends because like as an adult it's very difficult to do, and so I invited this girl that I knew was gay at the time to come get coffee with me and my dog. It's a thing, I started doing some things over quarantine. And I noticed her body language was very, like how I am on a bad date. I was like, why is she treating me the way that I treat men? What's going on here? And that's when I realized, right? Oh no, I did the thing you're not supposed to do, right? I did the thing where you like put a woman in a situation she can't escape, right? You know what I'm talking about? How they're always like, don't ask a woman out, like in an elevator or in a cab or at work, like in a situation where they can't escape, make them feel safe. And I did that to someone. So I had to mitigate it immediately, right? I had to like fix the situation. And the first thing that my brain could think to do, true story, I swear to God, first thing my brain could think to do was just start talking about dicks. Just being like, oh my God, I love them. Let me tell you about things they do. It's like, just because she's a lesbian doesn't mean she doesn't. No, like she's seen a dick, right? But I'm just like, oh my God. So I just started like making up scenarios. Because I mean, look, like you guys have been in my presence all of how many minutes, and you know I have not seen a dick in like you can tell, right? In a while. But I was just trying to make her feel comfortable, so I just started making up like scenarios and stories and like, and it worked. She relaxed. And I took her home immediately, right? Took her home immediately, and I dropped her off. And then on my way home, I was like, why was I not her type? Like, hold on a second. Like, I'm cute. I'm funny. Like what would I need to do or change about myself to be this girl? And guys, I'm not gay, but now I'm going to start going on gay dates just to prove to this person I'll never see again that I got it. Right? That I got it. It hurts. But it's true, guys, I'm going through a real dry spell. And to give you an idea of how dry of a spell it is, right? During quarantine, I was quarantined in a 600 square foot apartment by myself, right? In a city where it was literally illegal to be in the presence of another human being, and I was still more likely to get laid at the time. Bam, 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 right? Yeah, it's been weird. But I mean, I guess that's what I get for like picking up and like moving to a city where you don't know anyone, right, at all. But the thing about being in a dry spell is it's just surprising. It's just surprising, right? I'm turning 30 this year, and I'm just surprised. I'm just shook because I feel like men will fuck anything, right? And I don't even mean that insultingly. I have seen men like fuck inanimate objects before, right? And also like have a preferred one, right? Like not this one, right? Unless it's like humid out, and then this one. And so, you know, I'm used to them just like yelling things at you and like pursuing you, right? Like being too aggressive. For example, I was in traffic the other day. I swear to God, true story. I was in traffic the other day, minding my own, this is me in traffic, minding my own business, stand still, and on the, I kid you not, on the shoulder of the road, this car pulls up next to me, and this guy's like, roll down your window. Roll down your window. And I was like, no. And he's like, roll down your window. And I was like, no. And he's like, I need your number. And I was like, no. And he goes, you hit me back there. I need your number. And like I did. But like also, can you be more desperate? Can you? He had a little girl in the car with him. So immediately I was like, oh, now I have to pull over. And then I realized like, oh, that's how Ted Bundy won. Like that's how those people win, right? Turns out there was no damage though, it was fine. That time, I don't know if you guys have seen my car out there, that time. I've only been driving since November, put it up. Yep. That's what happens when you spend 13 years in Chicago, Illinois. You wake up one day and you're 29 years old and you don't know how to drive. And then a virus like ravages the world and you suddenly have all this time. It's great. I learned how to drive and I also lost 50 pounds. Thank you, thank you. No? You guys are like, fuck you. Well, let me tell you, here's the thing. Whenever you tell people you lost like a lot of weight, like 50 pounds, they're like, oh my God. Like getting healthy, getting strong, right? And that's actually not why I did it at all. I got really tired of being offered seats on the bus in Chicago. I got really tired of people being like, oh honey, you sit down, right? For two reasons. Because one, when I don't draw on my eyebrows and glue on my eyelashes, I look like I'm 12. So I was either being very harshly judged as a teen mom, right? Or I was just being offered seats because people thought I was fat. But that's not even why I did it. The reason I did it was because I caught myself kind of leaning into this scenario, right? Like people would be like, oh my God, honey, take this seat. And I'd be like, oh, thank you so much. And then the next thing I knew, I like had a name, and there was like a date, right? Like and like the imaginary dad and I like had all these plans, and there was like nursery colors that were like saved on my phone. But the problem was I rode the same bus for 3 years. And people like, they had questions. They started to ask questions, you know, they got a little curious. So I had to lose weight. And that's it. That's my time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.